Action begins not with money but with thought. The greatest investment you'll ever make is in the training of your own mind. Ladies and gentlemen, let us pause for a moment and consider a simple yet extraordinary truth. Every great fortune, every thriving enterprise, every innovation that reshaped the world, each began as a thought in the mind of an individual who trained himself to think differently. Wealth is not created by chance, nor is it reserved for the fortunate few. It is the result of a mind that has been prepared, disciplined, and directed toward purpose. A trained mind does not drift aimlessly. It knows where it is going. It chooses its destination and then seeks the knowledge, the skill, and the habits to arrive there. The untrained mind, however, is like a ship without a rudder, tossed by circumstances, hoping that somehow, someday, things will improve. But hope alone has never built a business, never written a book, never created lasting wealth. Let me give you a principle worth remembering. The amount of money you earn will always be in direct proportion to the demand for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty of replacing you. This is not theory, it is a law as certain as gravity. If you want to increase your income, you must increase your value, and the way to increase your value is to train your mind. Training the mind begins with study. Not idle browsing, but dedicated learning. Read an hour a day in your chosen field, and you will soon rise above the average. Within 5 years you will be an authority. While most people watch and wait, the trained mind creates plans and builds. Next comes discipline. Wealth requires self-control. Control over your time, your spending, and most importantly, your thoughts. Fill your mind with ideas of growth, not limitation. Focus on service, not selfishness. For money, as Earl Nightingale once said, is nothing more than the yardstick of the value we deliver to others. Opportunities abound for those who prepare for them. Where others see problems, a trained mind sees solutions. Where others retreat in fear, a trained mind advances with confidence. This is the difference between mediocrity and prosperity. And so, I say to you, begin today. Decide what you want to achieve. Write it down, study it, imagine it, and then, step by step, build the knowledge and the habits that make it possible. Remember that money is simply the shadow of your growth. Train your mind and the money will follow. Wealth begins with disciplined thought, not luck. The idea that fortune is a matter of chance has trapped more people in mediocrity than any other belief. Luck is the explanation the unsuccessful give for the prosperity of others, because it excuses them from taking responsibility for their own condition. But if we examine closely the lives of those who have built lasting success, we find a common thread: a disciplined mind, trained to think in orderly fashion, guided by purpose, and kept on course through habit. Discipline in thought is the true seed of wealth, because it shapes every decision, every action, and every opportunity that follows. Consider for a moment the farmer. He does not scatter seeds haphazardly, hoping that somehow luck will carry them into fertile soil. He prepares the ground, chooses carefully what to plant, and then nurtures it daily with attention and effort. So it is with the mind. A disciplined thinker selects the ideas worth cultivating, removes the weeds of doubt and fear, and patiently tends to them until they bear fruit in the form of wealth. Luck plays no part in this process. It is all cause and effect, law and order, thought and result. The undisciplined mind, however, is like a field left to nature. It grows weeds, thorns, and brambles. Ideas come and go without direction, impulses lead to waste, and opportunities are missed because the mind is untrained to recognize them. Wealth does not come to such a mind, no matter how much it hopes or prays for luck. It comes instead to the man or woman who has made the decision to harness thought, to discipline it toward a definite aim, and to persist until that aim is reached. Discipline in thought means deciding each day what you will allow into your mind. It means filtering out the noise, the gossip, the endless distractions that consume the hours of most people's lives. It means focusing on principles, knowledge, and ideas that move you forward. A disciplined mind studies while others entertain themselves, plans while others procrastinate, and acts while others hesitate. Over time, the difference becomes vast, for discipline compounds just as wealth does. When you look at any great fortune, you will see years of disciplined thinking behind it. The skyscraper was once an idea, refined and strengthened through countless hours of deliberate thought. The business empire was once a concept on paper, nurtured by disciplined planning and carried through by disciplined action. The invention that transformed the world was not luck, but the product of a mind trained to persist, to analyze, and to believe in its vision. Wealth is not an accident. It is the harvest of disciplined thought, consistently applied over time. To believe in luck is to hand over your future to chance. To believe in disciplined thought is to take control of your destiny. Every man and woman has the ability to choose which road they will take, and that choice determines whether they live by design or drift by default. Your income is a reflection of the value you bring to the marketplace. It cannot be otherwise. Money is not the cause but the effect. It is not the reward for effort alone, but for effective effort directed toward service. Many work long hours, give much of their strength, yet remain poor, because their effort does not carry the kind of value that the world demands. Others may work fewer hours but have trained themselves to do what is rare, useful, and needed, and so their reward is multiplied. The marketplace does not measure hours, it measures value, and income follows in exact proportion. If you wish to increase your income, then do not look for luck, nor blame the economy, nor envy those who earn more. Instead, look inward and ask, how can I increase my value? How can I serve more effectively, more creatively, more intelligently? For the marketplace is impartial, it does not favor one over another. It rewards those who supply what it needs, and it ignores those who do not. This is the eternal law of compensation. Value comes from skill, knowledge, creativity, and attitude. It is shaped by the willingness to grow and to adapt. A person who learns daily, who sharpens his abilities, and who refines his character is steadily increasing his value, and it is only a matter of time before the income reflects that. Meanwhile, the person who resists change, who clings to comfort, who avoids growth, finds his value diminishing and wonders why life seems unfair. Life is not unfair. It simply mirrors what we bring to it. Consider the doctor, the engineer, the skilled craftsman. Their income is higher not because of some hidden force, but because the marketplace demands their knowledge and their ability, and because it is not easily replaced. Contrast this with work that requires little training, little thought, little responsibility. It is available to anyone, and so the reward is small. The difference lies in the value created. This is why the surest way to secure a brighter future is to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Increase your knowledge, improve your abilities, refine your communication, cultivate a positive attitude, and you will find doors opening where before there were only walls. The world is in constant search for men and women who can solve problems, who can bring order out of confusion, who can create where nothing existed before. Each time you train yourself to do this, you raise your value, and income follows like a shadow that never strays from its source. The truth is simple and liberating. You control your income by controlling the value you bring. Every book you read, every skill you acquire, every act of service you perform with excellence adds to that value. If you want more, you must become more. The law cannot be bent, and it does not fail. Your income is and always will be the reflection of the value you bring to the marketplace. A trained mind sees opportunities where others see obstacles. This is one of the great differences between those who rise in life and those who remain bound by circumstance. The untrained mind looks at a challenge and immediately concludes that it cannot be done, that the odds are too great, that the difficulties outweigh the potential reward. But the trained mind, through discipline and habit, responds differently. It studies the same situation, yet instead of retreating, it searches for what can be gained, for what can be learned, and for how the very difficulty might be transformed into an advantage. The situation is the same, but the perception is entirely different, and perception makes all the difference. When the world entered periods of great change, many people lost hope. They saw only uncertainty, only loss. But those who had trained their minds saw opportunities to innovate, to create, to step into the gaps left by fear. This is how new industries were born, how fortunes were made, and how progress was achieved. Opportunity does not vanish when difficulty arrives, often it multiplies. But only the trained mind, alert and prepared, is able to recognize it. Training the mind is like tuning a fine instrument. It requires practice, patience, and repetition. Just as a musician develops an ear for harmony, so a man or woman can develop an eye for opportunity. It begins with study, for study enlarges the vision and reveals connections that others overlook. It continues with reflection, for reflection gives birth to understanding. And it culminates in disciplined action, for without action even the greatest insight is wasted. This process creates the habit of seeking possibility rather than surrendering to limitation. Most people allow obstacles to dictate their lives. They see a wall and stop, never questioning if the wall has a door, a ladder, or another path around it. The trained mind, however, refuses to accept the obstacle at face value. It asks, what is the lesson here? What is the hidden opportunity? How can this difficulty serve me rather than stop me? By asking such questions, it finds answers invisible to the untrained. It is not that obstacles cease to exist, but that they are redefined as stepping stones instead of stumbling blocks. History is filled with examples of men and women who faced immense obstacles and yet saw opportunities that others missed. They were not luckier, nor were they spared from hardship. They simply trained their minds to think in a way that others had not. Where some saw crisis, they saw creation. Where some saw scarcity, they saw innovation. Where some gave up, they pressed forward. This ability to reframe reality is the true wealth of the trained mind, for it guarantees that no matter what the world delivers, there will always be a way to grow, to build, and to advance. A trained mind sees opportunities where others see obstacles because it has been conditioned to look for possibility instead of limitation. It knows that within every problem lies the seed of its solution, and that within every setback lies the potential for a greater return. It is not a gift of chance but the result of preparation, and it is available to anyone who chooses to discipline his thinking and train his mind to see what others overlook. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. It is not a sudden event, nor a stroke of fortune, nor a treasure stumbled upon by accident. It is the steady unfolding of a dream pursued with purpose. To realize something progressively means that each day, each hour, each decision contributes to its achievement. The individual who sets a clear, worthy goal and moves toward it, regardless of how small the steps may be, is already successful, for success is not measured solely at the destination but in the forward movement toward it. Most people confuse success with the accumulation of wealth, recognition, or power. These may indeed accompany success, but they are byproducts, not the essence. The essence is the alignment of one's life with a meaningful ideal, something greater than the self, something that gives direction and significance to daily action. The ideal may be the creation of a business, the pursuit of art, the raising of a family, the building of character, or the service of humanity. What matters is not its size in the eyes of the world, but its worthiness in the heart of the one pursuing it. The reason so few achieve true success is because so few define a worthy ideal for themselves. Without a definite purpose, life becomes a series of reactions, responding to circumstances rather than directing them. A ship without a course drifts wherever the wind and tide may carry it. But a ship with a destination, even if it must navigate storms, keeps steadily on until it arrives. In the same way, the man or woman who has chosen a worthy goal and advances toward it cannot help but progress, and that progress itself is success. The progressive realization of a worthy ideal requires patience and discipline. It cannot be rushed, for growth is a gradual process. Each day is a brick laid upon the foundation, and while a single brick may seem small, the structure it contributes to becomes great over time. The disciplined individual learns to take joy in the process, to see the value in the effort itself, and to understand that each moment spent in pursuit of the ideal is a moment of success already attained. There is a quiet confidence that comes from living this way. The world may measure success in sudden victories, but the individual who knows this principle understands that true success is cumulative. He is not discouraged by setbacks, for they are but temporary deviations along a greater path. He is not swayed by the opinions of others, for his compass is his ideal, not their approval. He does not seek shortcuts, for he knows that shortcuts lead nowhere. Instead, he progresses step by step, realizing with each stride a little more of the ideal he has chosen. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal because it transforms life into purpose, effort into meaning, and time into achievement. The person who understands this truth need not wait for the applause of the world to feel successful, for he already lives in success the moment he begins to move toward the vision that calls him forward. Daily habits shape financial destiny, not in sudden bursts of inspiration, not in occasional flashes of effort, but in the quiet, repeated actions that seem small in the moment yet compound over time. What a man does every day is far more powerful than what he does once in a while, because habits become the silent architects of his future. They form the unseen pattern of thought and behavior that ultimately determines wealth or want, progress or stagnation, abundance or lack. If we examine the lives of the financially successful, we find no mystery, no secret formula hidden away from the rest of humanity. Instead, we find simple disciplines practiced consistently. They read when others are distracted. They save when others spend. They plan when others drift. They seize opportunities while others delay. Each habit may seem minor when viewed in isolation, but together, repeated over months and years, they create an unstoppable momentum that builds financial destiny. Likewise, if we examine the lives of those who struggle perpetually with money, the pattern is equally clear. Habits of waste, habits of neglect, habits of procrastination, habits of avoiding responsibility. These too shape destiny, but in the opposite direction. The results may take years to fully appear, but they are as certain as the harvest that follows the planting of seeds. A man cannot plant weeds and expect a crop of wheat, nor can he cultivate careless habits and expect a future of abundance. Daily habits are powerful because they bypass effort once they are established. They run automatically, shaping thought and action without conscious strain. This is why it is so important to choose them carefully. A single decision to adopt a good habit, like setting aside a portion of every dollar earned, may feel insignificant at first, but carried out daily, it becomes a fortune. A single decision to waste one's mornings in idleness may also feel insignificant, but carried out daily, it becomes a wasted life. The discipline of habits builds character as well as wealth. Each time you choose to act with order, with foresight, with responsibility, you strengthen your own self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation upon which confidence and courage are built. A person who has trained himself through daily habit to take charge of his finances does not fear the future, for he knows that he is the one shaping it. He does not wonder where his life is going, for he has already set it on course. Financial destiny, then, is not an accident. It is not written in the stars, nor fixed by fate, nor determined by outside forces beyond our control. It is written in the habits that we repeat when no one is watching, in the choices we make each morning, in the discipline we apply to the smallest details of life. By changing our daily habits, we change the trajectory of our financial future. By mastering our habits, we master our destiny. Reading, study, and reflection expand earning capacity. The mind is the source of all wealth, for every invention, every business, every enterprise that produces value began as an idea in the mind of an individual. To neglect the mind is to neglect the very instrument that creates opportunity. The more we read, the more we study, and the more we reflect upon what we have learned, the more valuable we become to the marketplace. The marketplace does not reward hours alone, it rewards knowledge applied with wisdom, and knowledge is acquired through the continual nourishment of the mind. Reading introduces us to new worlds of thought. It brings into our reach the wisdom of centuries, the experiences of men and women who faced challenges and overcame them. Each book becomes a teacher, guiding us toward new ways of thinking and new solutions to old problems. A person who reads daily expands the horizons of possibility, for each idea planted in the mind may one day yield a fortune. The man who does not read limits himself to his own narrow experience, while the man who reads multiplies his experience 100-fold through the lessons of others. Study goes beyond reading. It means not only consuming information but digesting it, questioning it, and applying it. It is deliberate learning focused on growth. The marketplace values specialists, those who have gone deeper than the surface, those who have taken the time to master their craft. By studying our field each day, even for a single hour, we rise steadily above the crowd. In a few years, we are no longer merely competent, we are authorities, and authority in any field commands greater reward, for authority is rare and rarity creates value. Reflection is the bridge between knowledge and action. Without reflection, reading and study are like seeds scattered on hard ground. They may rest on the surface, but they never take root. Reflection allows us to connect ideas, to integrate lessons, to see how one truth relates to another. It is in reflection that insights are born, and insights are what the world pays for. To sit quietly each day, to ponder what we have read and studied, to ask ourselves how it applies to our work and our lives, is to give our minds the chance to produce original thought. Original thought is the raw material of invention, of progress, of wealth. Those who devote time each day to reading, study, and reflection become different people over time. Their conversations carry weight, their ideas inspire confidence, their decisions bring results. Employers seek them, clients trust them, opportunities gravitate toward them. Their earning capacity expands not by chance, but because they have deliberately expanded their minds. The world is always in need of men and women who can think clearly, who can solve problems, who can bring order out of confusion. By training the mind through reading, study, and reflection, anyone can rise into that rare company, and with it rise into greater prosperity. Fear and doubt keep most people poor. Clarity and courage build prosperity. Poverty of the mind precedes poverty of the pocket, and it begins with the silent whisper of fear and the paralyzing fog of doubt. Fear tells a man that the risk is too great, that failure is certain, that he does not have what it takes. Doubt convinces him that others may succeed, but he is destined to remain where he is. Together, fear and doubt chain the mind, preventing it from exploring new paths, from seizing new opportunities, from daring to step beyond the familiar. The result is stagnation, and stagnation is the soil in which poverty thrives. Yet clarity is the great liberator. To see one's goals clearly, to define them with precision, to write them down and bring them into focus, is to dissolve much of the fear that clouds the mind. Fear thrives in vagueness, in uncertainty, in the shadows of indecision. When a man knows what he wants and why he wants it, he cuts through the fog with purpose. Clarity gives direction, and direction replaces hesitation with action. A person who has clarity of purpose may still feel fear, but he moves forward in spite of it, because the vision is stronger than the obstacle. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. Every man or woman who has ever built something of value felt the tremors of fear along the way. But courage is the decision to act regardless of the feeling. Each time we act with courage, fear loses its grip. Each time we confront doubt with action, doubt dissolves. Courage is like a muscle, strengthened with use. And as it grows, prosperity follows, because prosperity rewards the individual who dares to act where others hesitate. The difference between poverty and prosperity is not found in external circumstances, but in the inner atmosphere of the mind. Two people may face the same opportunity. One sees risk and shrinks back. The other sees possibility and advances. One remains poor, the other prospers. The external world is indifferent. It simply mirrors the decisions born of fear or the decisions born of courage. The man who cultivates clarity of purpose and courage of action gradually builds momentum, and that momentum carries him forward into success. Fear and doubt ask, what if it doesn't work? Clarity and courage ask, what if it does? Fear and doubt paralyze with images of failure. Clarity and courage energize with visions of victory. Most people never realize their potential because they yield to the former instead of training themselves to live by the latter. But the choice belongs to each of us. Every day we decide which voice to follow, and that decision writes the story of our lives. Poverty will always shadow the one who bows to fear and doubt, but prosperity will always be the companion of the one who builds clarity of vision and cultivates the courage to act. Ideas, when acted upon, are worth more than gold. Gold can be spent, it can be lost, it can be stolen, but an idea once put into motion has the power to generate fortunes again and again. The greatest enterprises, the most remarkable inventions, the foundations of industries all began not with capital, not with machinery, but with an idea that someone believed in enough to act upon. The world is full of idle ideas, drifting in the minds of men who never move beyond thought, but the rare few who take their ideas and give them life shape the destiny of nations and of themselves. An idea in itself is only potential. It is a seed. Left on a shelf, it does nothing, it changes nothing, it produces nothing. But planted through action, it takes root, and once it grows, it can become a forest. History is rich with stories of simple ideas that transformed into vast enterprises because someone had the courage to act. A man once thought people might prefer light in their homes without smoke from oil lamps. Another believed communication should travel faster than the speed of a horse. Another imagined that machines could fly like birds. These ideas, acted upon, became industries that changed the world. The difference between those who prosper and those who drift lies not in the presence of ideas, but in the decision to act upon them. Everyone has thoughts that could, if pursued, lead to betterment, to progress, to wealth. But most people dismiss them, or delay them, or doubt themselves until the spark fades. Meanwhile, those who seize upon an idea with determination and persistence find that it becomes more valuable than any gold they could have inherited. Gold once spent is gone. An idea acted upon continues to create. The printing press still creates wealth centuries after its invention. The steam engine gave birth to railroads, factories, and modern industry. The electric light illuminated not only homes but entire economies. All of these began as fragile thoughts in the minds of individuals who dared to act. Their value has outlived their creators, enriching countless lives long after the first step was taken. Action is the alchemy that turns an idea into wealth. Without it, the richest imagination remains barren. With it, even the simplest thought can become a source of abundance. Acting upon an idea does not guarantee instant success, but it guarantees growth, experience, and the possibility of eventual achievement. Each step taken breathes life into the invisible, and once something is made real, it can be refined, improved, and expanded. Those who wait for perfect certainty before acting on an idea will wait forever, for no idea arrives fully formed. It is in the process of action that clarity emerges, that obstacles reveal themselves, and that solutions are discovered. The man who acts moves forward, the one who only thinks remains in place. And so, ideas when acted upon are worth more than gold, because they carry within them not just wealth, but progress, creation, and the power to change the world. The world rewards specialized knowledge combined with persistence. General knowledge, though useful, is rarely enough to build lasting wealth or distinction. It is specialized knowledge, applied with determination, that sets a man apart from the crowd. The marketplace pays generously for those who know how to do something that few others can do, and who are willing to do it better, longer, and with greater commitment than most are willing to endure. Specialized knowledge is the tool, and persistence is the force that wields it until results are achieved. A person may know a little about many things, but such knowledge carries little value when it comes to creating prosperity. The one who has studied deeply in a chosen field, who has refined his skill through practice, who has thought about his subject more thoroughly than his peers, soon becomes indispensable. His services are sought after, his reputation grows, and his income rises in proportion. Yet even this alone is not enough. Many people of talent and skill have failed to achieve prosperity because they lack the persistence to see their knowledge through to its reward. Knowledge without persistence is like a seed left unwatered. It contains potential but never bears fruit. Persistence is the quiet strength that separates those who dream from those who achieve. The road to success is littered with obstacles, setbacks, and disappointments. Most people give up when faced with difficulty, and this is why the rewards remain for the few who press on. A person armed with specialized knowledge and the will to keep moving forward possesses an almost unstoppable combination. He may not succeed at once, but his persistence ensures that he learns, adapts, and improves until success becomes inevitable. The world itself is structured to test resolve. Any worthwhile goal will present challenges to prove the seriousness of one's intent. The man who turns back at the first sign of resistance demonstrates that he was never committed to begin with. But the one who persists, who treats failure as information rather than defeat, eventually reaches the summit. His specialized knowledge gives him the tools to solve problems, and his persistence ensures that he continues applying those tools until the problems are solved. Consider the inventor who works tirelessly, failing again and again, yet never ceasing his experiments. Consider the entrepreneur who builds business after business until one thrives. Consider the artist who spends decades perfecting her craft before the world takes notice. None of these succeed by accident. Each had knowledge that others did not, and each had the persistence to apply it beyond the point where most would have quit. The rewards of life are not reserved for the clever alone, nor for the hardworking alone, but for those who combine knowledge with persistence. General knowledge may entertain, but specialized knowledge creates wealth. Persistence may be painful, but it turns knowledge into achievement. Together they form the key that unlocks prosperity, and the world never fails to reward those who possess both. To change your financial reality, first change the way you think. Every man and woman lives today in the world they have built in their own minds. Circumstances, while seemingly external, are reflections of inner patterns of thought repeated day after day. A person who believes money is scarce will always find proof of scarcity. A person who believes money flows through service and creativity will begin to notice opportunities that were invisible before. The outer world mirrors the inner world, and until thought changes, conditions remain the same. Most people attempt to change their financial reality by working harder, chasing chance, or blaming circumstances. They move from one job to another, one scheme to another, never realizing the root of their problem lies in their thinking. Effort without new thought is like pouring water into a leaking vessel. No matter how much is added, it never fills. But when thought changes, effort is multiplied, directed, and rewarded. Ideas appear where there were none, solutions arrive where only problems seem to exist, and doors open where before there were only walls. The first step is to take responsibility for the mind, to think deliberately instead of passively, to choose what thoughts are allowed to take root, and to reject those that weaken and diminish. A person who fills his mind with fear, with doubt, with envy, will reap the fruits of those thoughts in poverty and limitation. A person who fills his mind with faith in growth, with determination to serve, with ideas of abundance, will just as surely reap the fruits in prosperity. The soil of the mind does not care what seeds are planted. It will return in kind whatever is sown. Changing the way you think about money means understanding its nature. Money is not evil, nor is it mysterious. It is simply a yardstick for value, a token of exchange for the service rendered to others. To resent it or to fear it is to repel it. To respect it and to understand its laws is to attract it. When you see money as a tool for progress, a servant rather than a master, your relationship to it changes, and in turn, your financial reality begins to change as well. Every wealthy individual began first with a change in thought. They saw themselves not as victims of circumstance, but as creators of circumstance. They chose to see opportunities instead of obstacles, to think in terms of possibilities instead of limitations. Their reality adjusted itself to their thought, because thought is the foundation of action, and action builds the world in which we live. To change your financial reality, then, is not to wish for luck, nor to wait for the right conditions, but to begin with thought. Think bigger, think clearer, think more purposefully. Fill your mind with ideas that lead to growth, and act upon them with discipline. As the mind changes, so too does the reality it creates. for no lasting wealth is possible without first being born in the realm of thought. Prosperity is not the product of chance, but the inevitable outcome of disciplined thought, purposeful action, and the daily cultivation of habits that increase one's value. Wealth begins in the mind, grows through study, reflection, and clarity of vision, and manifests when fear is replaced with courage and doubt with determination. It is not luck that shapes financial destiny, but the progressive realization of worthy ideals, acted upon with persistence. The marketplace rewards those who train their minds to see opportunities where others see obstacles, who understand that income is the reflection of value delivered, and who build their future one deliberate choice at a time. Success belongs to the individual who masters his thoughts, develops specialized knowledge, and has the courage to apply ideas with unwavering persistence. In this way, any new willing to train the mind can design not only their financial reality, but the life they truly desire. So tonight, before you go to bed, make a decision. Choose one skill, one idea, or one area of knowledge that will increase your value to others. Begin tomorrow with study, discipline, and determination. Start small, but start now. For the mind you train today will shape the wealth you enjoy tomorrow.